Great! Once again, it's Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza. Another episode, more Schoolboy Rugby. And once again, this is the show where we talk Schoolboy Rugby, and once again, Schoolboy Rugby. We are getting closer and closer towards the end of the season, but there's still 2 months at least of jam-packed Schoolboy Rugby, including a huge derby, the biggest derby in South Africa, right at your doorsteps. I think in 1 week or 2 weeks' time, the Paul derby, Paul Roos Gymnasium against Paul Boys. Easily, closely, no doubt, the biggest derby in South African Schoolboy Rugby. We're talking about 20,000 people that comes to this incredible derby. Once again, we are looking today at the highlights and the results of this weekend's Schoolboy Rugby. And to discuss it with me, again, as always, is our founder, Mr. Schoolboy, Louis van Kopenhagen. How are you today?
Good, and you, Steve? It's good to be here. It there were some great games over the weekend. So some interesting results. So with no further ado, let's jump right into this. So in no particular order. So
if you've got your coffee with you, all the viewers, please grab your coffee, make yourself comfortable as we're going to look in and delve in to the incredible Saturday that's been passed. There's been some interesting results. So without further ado, let's have a look and start with, first up, I think it's the Eastern Cape.
Yeah. So Cambridge versus Queens, 63-0. Weskus Gym, 19. Dale College, 55. Selborne College versus Hudson Park. Now, that's an interesting result. Very interesting result. And Graham College, 61. Pearson, 24. Muir College, 24. Brandwag, 36. That was an interesting result. And look at the next one, Steve. Nikomalan, 95.
Oh.
DAF Malherbe, 12.
Yo.
And now, this game. Grimsby versus Grey College. Oh, Grey High. What beautiful rugby, intense rugby, right until the final whistle. Grey High had the ball from a penalty. They kicked the line out and went through the phases. So I was like, okay, cool. As long as they do not make any mistakes, the ref will let it go on. And they crept on slowly, and scored a beautiful try right at the end. Because at that stage, it was 28-all, and they obviously missed the conversion, and they won 33-28. But what a beautiful game. What a beautiful game.
Yeah, of course, Grey High and Graham College are still battling it out for the top honors in Eastern Cape. And both teams has won. Graham College has won their game 61-24 against Pearson, and Grey High has won their game against Fransby. And right now, both of them are also knocking on the door for top 20, which is incredible. Of course, another result that we haven't mentioned is, of course, the game between Port Rex and Marlow. Marlow ending up victors 49-21 against Port Rex.
Then Daniel Pinar, 45. Andrew Robbie, 43. Oh, Kingswood, 70. Sterling, 7. Oh dear.
Sure.
That's a bit of a walkover.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So, right. Now, this was an interesting game. Grey College played against a school from England. It was on the Friday afternoon, but
of course, that's the B team and the C team name.
Yeah, it was
second and third combined of Grey College.
It was a combined team between the second and third team.
Okay.
It wasn't the first team.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe this will be an interesting matchup. But from the get-go, after 5 minutes, Grey College was already leading 14-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they really put up the pace. Everything just worked. It was beautiful rugby. And Shane, the visiting school didn't have any answers right up until the last 15 minutes of the game, where they started to play rugby and started to get somewhere, but it was a little too late.
Yeah, it just shows you the class of great college. We in South Africa, without sounding biased, but we in South Africa are so blessed with the quality. Last year, we had about 3 to 4 teams in the top 20 in the world for schools. Great College, one of them, Affis, and then, of course, the Paul teams. And even Oakdale was in the top 20. So we are blessed with depth. And yeah, Harrow just wasn't close. It's a good thing actually that Great College first team didn't play against Harrow's the team from
Yeah.
Harrow. Right? It would have been even
And
worse. But it just shows you the incredible depth that there is in Great College.
yeah. And what was very interesting, they didn't go the full 70 minutes. 5 minutes before the game was supposed to end, the ref just said enough is enough and finished the game.
Yeah, technical knockout.
Yeah.
So I
So
think the more games, should be ended like that because it's never good for schoolboy rugby. This kind of result, it's never good.
no, no.
They
It,
could have even negotiated, after the first half and say,
mm,
listen, let's make it a 50, 35 minutes,
yeah,
make a game 60 minutes because it's not good for schoolboy rugby when you
no.
get into the hundreds and 200s or even the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And the next game, Paul Gim, 52, Rondebosch, 24, um, Durbanville 7, Paul Boys, 56.
Now, both Rondebosch and Durbanville are strong schools. I mean, Rondebosch are regularly inside your top 50. So
Mm,
52-24 at the end of the day, it's not a runaway victory, but
mhm,
it's a strong, convincing victory. And Paul Gim showing why they are ranked number one right now in South Africa.
mm,
And of course, Durbanville at one stage was even as high up as in the top 20
yeah,
in South Africa. They
yeah.
now, I think they are knocking or they're hovering there between 25th and 30th. And Paul Boyce, we all know, is now currently ranked between fifth and seventh.
Mm.
So yeah, strong. But look at the next game, Louis. Sachs against Paul Roos.
I watched
What
the,
an incredible game that must have been.
I watched this game. Now let me tell you, um, Sachs came out to prove a point.
Yes.
They had a stranglehold in up until the end of the first half on Paul Roos. And even the commentators were like, we don't know how Paul Roos is going to pull this one out of the fire. And I'm like, all right, let's see. There's still a second half to play. Um, and yes, the depth, number one. Number two, Paul Roos, we know are one of your top 5 schools in the country. So they've been in these situations many a times. So they kept it together. And again, it went down to the last second where they scored a beautiful try in the corner to win this game. But only in the last few seconds. It was phenomenal rugby from both sides. It was
Yeah, it shows you
really
it's incredible.
the
Wow.
highlight one.
It shows you the quality of Western Cape schools. No
Oh,
wonder Western Province are dominating in South Africa on the South Africa school provincial settings because of the
yeah,
quality. I mean, like the coach, I think it was the coach of Paul Boys High said that it was the coach of Paul Boys High when we had an interview with him. He said that every game in the Western Cape is like a test match.
yeah,
When it's Western Cape schoolboy rugby, it's like test match, and I can testify to it. I grew up in the Western Cape. I played for Swanswijk's under 15-8 team before I went, of course, to Randburg. And that was basically the end of my competitive rugby career because I chose athletics. So I played then rugby on a social level. But anyways, we played, whether it was pouring rain, heat, whatever. I remember a game we played against Grote Skiep. That was our derby. It was pouring with rain, but yet the stands was packed. We played on the A field, and even though it was pouring rain, we played. We played. No matter the rain was pouring, we played in that mud. The entire game we played, and none of the spectators left at us. They had the umbrellas. They were still right around the field. And that is basically what schoolboy rugby in Western Cape is all about.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And the next one, now this is an interesting result. Stellenberg 26, Outeniqua 21. So
yeah, Stellenberg is still ranked number 2 or number 3 in South Africa. Outeniqua is also a team that's inside the top 10 or just outside. So, yeah, Outeniqua could have so easily have won that game also, no?
Yeah, it could have gone either way. And then Wynberg 42, Boland Landbou 26, Droste 31, Oakdale 24.
That's also a very interesting result. I mean, if you can remember, Oakdale was ranked 6th at the end of 2025. So for Droste to have pulled that victory over, that is a memorable victory for them.
Because,
yeah, that's massive.
Because Oakdale, we labeled them the Giant Slayers of 2025, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Even a game, Wynberg versus Boland Landbou, it shows you also the competitiveness in Boland rugby. And of course, we all know what happened in the Currie Cup. Myself and you, we covered the game for the Rassie Rasmus supporters group. We did the match thread.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to see the, the excitement and also the build-up towards the game in Boland rugby for the seniors. That, it was jam-packed stadium. The stadium was full, music in the background. Rugby in Boland is really healthy and well.
Yeah.
And Wynberg, of course, is no slouch. They're also a regular top 20 team. So at the end of the day, 42-26 is nothing really. It's 16 points. But I'm very encouraged to see not only in school rugby in Boland, but also in senior rugby, how healthy rugby is right now in Boland rugby.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So now we get to the Noordval Cup results.
Yes.
Some of the Noordval Cup. So Hoërskool Middelburg 42, Monument 68.
The first game also, just the first game, E.G. Jansen against Waterkloof.
Yeah.
Waterkloof beat us 34-24.
That was a good game. I watched that game. It was a phenomenal game. And from the whole game, I think if I was tasked to put a man of the match, I would have said the right wing of Waterkloof. He had an absolute phenomenal game. If I remember, he scored 2 tries. Defense was good. He was all over the park. Wherever the ball was, he was. It was really, they really came out to play. So it was a very enjoyable game.
Well, if I was a betting man, Louis, right now I will change my predictions and I will say that the final very well can be between Monument and Waterkloof. They look to be the teams. And Monument must be overwhelming favorites to take this year.
For now, yes, I agree. And
of course, Gasfontein is also there. Don't forget about Gasfontein. They were resting. But let me say something. I've got a feeling, who knows, maybe Waterkloof can upset Gasfontein. That will be incredible.
Yeah.
But we all know that Waterkloof has always been one of your top schools in Pretoria. Yeah. Of course, Jimmy Stonehouse was also a coach at Waterkloof. That's where he actually started with his rugby.
Yeah.
So I think that your big three, I know the big three will be Monument, Waterkloof, and Gasfontein. Obviously, we cannot rule out Gasfontein. They will still be the number one team, the favorites. They are 4th in South Africa. Monument is inside the top 10, and I know Waterkloof is just outside the top 20 or inside the top 20, they were always hovering. So those are the big three teams.
Yeah. And I said from the beginning, if you remember and recall, that Waterkloof is going to be the dark horse in the Noordval Cup.
Yeah, no,
And
I tend to agree with you. I tend to agree with you now.
yeah.
So, luckily, I'm not a betting man, and I've made some many wrong predictions. But
Well,
I'm gonna stick my neck out and say that Waterkloof could very well be in the finals.
mm,
It's
mm,
gonna be a tough task. It's either those three. The next game, Rossenburg 37, 34. And Louis, I don't want to be too critical, but Helpmekaar is not having the greatest of season this year.
no,
They've now slumped
no.
out of the top 20. They've had some big defeats. They were the finalists of the Vaal Trophy, but at this stage, I'm not even sure if they're going to make the semifinals.
Yeah.
Um, they've struggled against the top teams. We all know that they don't really have the depth to play, to be really, really within winning range against the likes of Office and those teams, and they're a proud school. But
Yeah.
they've had some difficult results this year,
Yeah.
especially in the Vaal Trophy.
Yeah.
And you can see also, we will look at the rankings, but you will also see they have dropped from 17th position in the rankings now to, I think, just 23, 24th. So they're having a bit of a tough season.
Mm, yeah. Then Menlo Park, 45, Noordheuwel, 42. Interesting.
Yeah, it's two strong teams. Menlo Park, of course, we all know you've been to the festival of at
Yes.
Menlo Park.
Yes.
A strong school, and they were also, of course, at the Noordstate
Yeah.
tournament where they really, really, really played very well.
Yes. And out of that, I can't remember the result, but all I remember was the coach sitting next to the field and
Yes.
absolutely going crazy. It was really entertaining. So, but you can understand why. So, a good result for them because Noordheuwel has also shown they are here to play.
Oh, yes. Strong top 20 performer in South African schoolboy rugby. They're also at most of your main festivals throughout South Africa.
Mm.
So, yeah, great result. And of course, Swartkop, the favorite for Division 2.
Yeah.
Look at the result against Nelspruit,
Yeah.
49-23.
Yeah. So, um, very, very good result for them. And I think they've had a very good season so far. So,
Yeah, they
um,
are one of the upcoming schools in South Africa. I'm so excited
oh
about
yes.
Swartkop. They are really one of the upcoming schools in South
Oh
African
yes.
school rugby. And they have moved all the way from just outside the top 50s. They are now inside or just outside the top 50. The last time I checked the ranking, they were 28th. So I believe Swartkop's going to win Division 2, and I believe that we could see Swartkop in next year's Premier Division. And that will be incredible.
Yeah, that will be fantastic. And
Absolutely.
then if we move on, HTS Middelburg 19, Westmoord 32. HTS Middelburg has also had a very tough season, very up and down.
Yeah.
So Transvalia 40, Montana 14, Klerksdorp 19, Kempton Park. Now that's the other school that's been doing very well this year. 44. They've also had a very good season up until now.
I
So,
actually drove past Kempton Park 2 weeks back. I went to visit someone, one of my co-leaders in my ministry. And I drove past Kempton Park. It's actually a pretty impressive school.
mm,
They are, of course, the pride of Kempton Park. And then right
yes,
next to them, not far from them, is of course, Jeugland. It's also a
yes,
top performer that's
yes,
also ranked inside the top 100.
yeah.
So between Kempton Park and Jeugland, there's some strong, strong schools in Kempton Park. Very exciting to see.
And Clark, Petersburg 47, Lichtenburg 29, Marais Viljoen 53, Ligbron 15, Secunda 11, Heidelberg Volkschool 33, Piet Retief 41, Eldorraine 7. Now that's an interesting result.
Yeah, Alderaan also had a tough season, Louis. To be honest,
Mhm.
Alderaan also had a tough season.
Oh yes.
And they've actually now slumped out of the top 100. when I checked the last rankings, and that for them is not a usual position to be in.
Yeah.
And they are not playing the greatest of rugby this year, I'm afraid, compared to last year.
Then also, this was not so much publicized as the other games, but Randburg 32, Bastion 17. Now, as you know, we have seen Bastion a few times where we did go to the games, and actually they play good rugby. So, but like the coach,
Bastion had a bit of a slump in the past few seasons, but they're on their way back. They at the beginning of the season they didn't have a ranking, but they're now back in the rankings, the top 200. They are, I think, 143rd. So they are back on their way back, and I believe that Randburg and Bastion are back into the World Trophy setup.
Yeah. So, and also from Randburg's coach, he always says if the guys pitch up on the day, they can win. And it seems they did. So I'm very sorry I couldn't see this game. I think this would have been one hell of a game.
Yeah, and of course, Randburg is our alma mater, it's our school, and it's great to see them back into the World Trophy setup. Back, I'm not quite sure if it's Division 2 or Division 3, but they're back in the World Trophy setup after missing out this season. Louis, there were some other results before this one that you only went on briefly. Can you just quickly go back to them?
Because we did this.
This one we did
something. Yeah, I think maybe somewhere I've missed something, but we will put up.
Yeah, you just went. Can you just go back? You just had it now. That's the one. No, the next one. Next one.
So these are all the
next
results
one.
we've had. So
is that all the results?
I've made a mistake here. This I've put twice. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's my mistake.
Oh, okay, sorry. We just wanted to make sure and all our viewers, we just wanted to make sure we've covered the main results. Of course, this is not all the results.
No.
We are trying our very best to cover as much rugby as possible, but there's so much rugby that is played. We've got now up to speed. We now currently have a top 300 in South Africa schoolboy rugby. And that doesn't even cover all the schools. No. We are talking about thousands of schools that plays rugby. So right now, there's a ranking of top 300. There's a lot of schools, including my old school, Swanswyk. That's not even in the rankings.
Yeah.
But this is basically the depth. And let's have a look now at the top 50, the top 40 of schoolboy rugby in South Africa.
Right.
I'm going to quickly go through this. As I said, Paarlgem is number one. They've been the top performer this year throughout, and they're going to have a huge clash against Paul Boys High, which could have an effect on the rankings, of course, because Garsfontein, look at Garsfontein, fourth, jumped up now to second. What an incredible result for them. And of course, if they win the World Trophy, they're going to stake a huge claim for the number one position.
Yeah.
Paul Roos, number 3, last year's champions. Stellenberg is now down from first to fourth, but they are still there. Office, there's a very small gap. Nothing to do between number 1 and 10, to be honest. Office, fifth.
And also, Office played against Maritzburg College over the weekend. I watched that game. They absolutely dismantled Maritzburg College. If I remember correctly, the final score was 40-12 to Office.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Office, of course, is your regular top 3 normally. They've been on the top, for so many years. So it's sometimes a bit unusual not to see them in the top 3, but still, they're in 5th place and knocking the doors. Paul Boys High at number 6, that's a bit of an unusual position for them. They normally also up and about top 3, top 4. So for them to be 6, and look at Great College, that for me is really weird to see. To see Great College at number 7. I don't think they'll be 100% happy with that. For their standards and the high standards that they've got, 7th is just not good enough for them. But still, it just shows you how incredible the depth is in schoolboy rugby.
Yeah.
Monument, number 8. Of course, they are favorites together with Garsfontein, for the World Trophy. Outeniqua, as we said, is a strong performer. They had a good victory over Oakdale. And that's the reason why they're ninth. And then Oakdale is number 10th. And then, of course, Waterkloof, I said, is knocking on the doors of top 10. They're in 11th. And then you've got a procession of Natal schools. Look at that. Malinsburg, 12. Hilton College, 13. Northwood, 14. Durban, 15. Westville, 16. All of them right together. And if you look at the Craven Week results with the Natal Sharks, you can actually see why the Sharks are so competitive. The schools are so prominent in the top 20. It was incredible. They could have so easily won that Craven Week and be in the final, that they would have the worst enemy, as we said so many times, against Western Province. Michael House, 17th. RTS Rossley. Also, we also saw them having an outstanding weekend. Rondebosch, of course, as we said, 19th. And then Kirsty College from Durban, one of Durban's prides in Durban, one of the historic schools in Durban, in 20th position. JP have also slumped a bit out of the top 20. They were at one stage 8th. They're now 21st. And then Halbercar, as I said, have dropped all the way. They at one stage were 13th. They have dropped all the way from 13th to 22nd. Last year they finished 17th. They are now 5 positions back, and they're not having the greatest of seasons.
No, unfortunately not.
Wynberg, 23rd, as we said, is also one of your historic schools. Even from my school days, I can remember Wynberg has always been primary level as well as high school level, have always been a top performer. They in 23rd. Noordheuwel, 24th. And then, as I said, the number 1 school in the Eastern Cape at this stage, Grey High, 25th. And then look at that, right on the heels, nothing to choose, Graham College at 26. And I'm actually rooting for Graham College, to maybe up one above Grey High, because we had not only, but because we had an interview with Graham College's coach, and also because of, if you look at a school of 350 pupils, a school that's only got 350 pupils, to be ranked as high up as they are is absolutely incredible. It shows you the pride, and it shows you the quality of coaching and the management that's going on at Graham College. So it's huge kudos to them. And it's incredibly impressive. Durbanville, as we said, they were at the north side. They also, at one stage, were knocking on the door of 20th. They were at one stage just inside the top 20. They've now on 27th, but still they've had a pretty competitive year. And then, as I said, one of your absolute fairy tale stories is the story of Swartkop. That's 28th. Incredibly impressive. Menlo Park, as we said, strong performer. Louis, of course, and the crew went to Menlo Park for the festival they had. They're in 29th. Sachs, 30th. Boland Lampo, as we said, it's great to see the competition. Boland is healthy and strong. They're 31st. Diamantveld, of course, the host of the Villa Claver tournament, 32nd. Yes. Kingswood, 33rd. Case is now 34th. And of course, we know someone that used to play for Case's first team, Daniel Rousseau. So he'll be very proud of his team. They also had a good couple of weeks in the past week or two, or the last week, also this weekend.
Yeah, they also had a good game this weekend. I can't remember who they played. I think they played Pretoria Boys High, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and they pulled one over Pretoria Boys High, which is an impressive result, because we all know Pretoria Boys High. The derby between Pretoria Boys High and Affies is still up and coming, eh?
Yeah, it's going to be somewhere in late August, I think, or early September. So we are waiting.
Watch out for that one, because that is also one of the huge derbies in South Africa Schoolboy Rugby.
Yeah.
So moving on, Dale College, 35th. Of course, we all know that Dale College is also a very strong school. Queen's College, 36th. Rustenburg, 37th. Bishops from the Western Cape, also a strong historic school, 38th. Pretoria Boys High, 39th. They at one stage were outside the top 40. They back into the top 40. They've been having a kind of up and down season, but they've been playing some good rugby, except now for that match against Case. That Case absolutely gave them a bit of a hiding. Nelspruit in 40th. We all know what a strong school Nelspruit is. They're always at your main tournaments. And then we have to give some honorable mentions to Paddlefilet from the Western Cape, E.G. Jansen, Nico Milan, St. John's, Selborne, Middelburg, Nico Milan's here twice, so I'm just going to leave that out. Pearson and Hudson Park.
Yes.
The ranking is strong, competitive, and Schoolboy Rugby in South Africa just continues to amaze everyone how incredible the depth is. And I can tell you, the gap between first and 40th is incredibly small.
Yeah.
Just to give you an example, Pretoria Boys High, that's ranked 59th, played Affis last year, that's ranked 5th, and they were leading at one stage against
Yeah.
Affis just before halftime.
Yeah.
They were in the lead. And that shows you that the gap between number 1 and number 40 is incredibly small.
Yeah.
So it's incredible to see there's still lots of rugby to play, and we are looking forward to the next couple of weeks.
Just to finish us off, just so that the people can understand why we put the team together as we do. Right. So these are all the games that between myself and you, we have watched. And this is from what we think who should be in the team. It's no meaning SA school side, nothing. It is purely the schools that have really impressed us during the course of the weekend. And
so basically, it's standout players that we would like to give an honorable mention that really played outstanding games. So we put them in the team of the week. So because we get a lot of flack and say, but what about this player and this player? And we are not discrediting other players. We are also not saying that this is your SA school. This is just to give recognition to players and to the schools where some players have really had standout games.
Yeah. And now that I see the team again, another game that we didn't talk about the results was Northcliffe versus Parktown Boys High. And what a phenomenal game right up to the end. Eventually, Parktown Boys pulled it through. But an absolutely entertaining game. I sat glued to the screen. It was beautiful rugby, and it made me so happy, Steve.
Yeah. Northcliffe is also a school that's inside the top 100 of Schoolboy Rugby. And of course, Northcliffe also are famous for producing the Ntunsuka brothers. The one Vincent played for South Africa and Emmanuel. Both of them are playing currently the rugby at the Sharks. They, of course, were products of the Lions rugby team. So Northcliffe, of course, is famous for that. So a lot of exciting things are happening. And Louis, you also had an interview with Northcliffe coach at the venue when they were playing one of their games.
Yes.
You had a short interview with them, with the coach of Northcliffe.
Yes, and he was also part of the Grand Como of this.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So a lot of positive things is happening at Northcliffe Rugby.
Yeah.
A lot of positive. But it just actually shows you, the incredible structure. And for me, it's always so exciting when we are looking at and we are having interviews with the coaches to see what's going on in Schoolboy Rugby, not just with the big schools, but also with the smaller schools.
Oh, yes.
And it warms my heart to see the healthy structures and the passion and the efforts that these coaches are bringing. They are absolutely dedicating their lives to bring up the next generation of South African rugby.
Oh, yes.
So for me, that's very positive.
Oh, yes.
Right. So of course, that brings us up. Some more Schoolboy Rugby is coming up this weekend. Of course, please stay tuned. We will be sure to bring you as much updates as possible. And maybe where we can also match rates of games that we are watching, we will also be sure to bring to you. So please stay tuned. As always, we would like to thank our community. That is an absolute growing community. We're getting more and more global school maniacs that is joining our community. We are now at the time of recording, we are now currently on 2,480 members. We are knocking on 2,500 members, and it's so incredible. When we started with this show, we were only just over 200, I think just underneath 200 members, and we have shot up from after 40 episodes, we have absolutely jumped from 200 members to 2,500 members. And for me, that is absolutely exciting. We cannot do it without our community. And it warms me and myself and um, the founder's heart, to see the passion, the commitment, and the excitement of all the people. And now what also is exciting for me, Louis, is to see when I look at the Facebook members, how many young schoolboys and young people are part of the community. That for me is exciting.
That
I would
that
like,
that
yeah,
that is amazing. It makes me very happy to see that they want to be part of this
yes.
and be part of the bigger picture.
Absolutely. I would like to encourage even now the schoolgirls. We're going to make an effort to putting more attention to the schoolgirls. As
Yeah,
schoolgirl rugby is growing in South Africa, we are, so please check this page. We are really committed and dedicated to bring interviews to you, interviews with the coaches of the schoolgirls, and also to get to a stage where we can also show the results of all the schoolgirls rugby that's been played. So we would like to encourage and we would like to invite the schoolgirls and the ladies to also become part of our
yeah,
community.
definitely.
As always, I would also like to remind you all that we are also not only are we on Facebook as a public group, Schoolboy Global School Rugby Bonanza, we're also on YouTube under Global School Rugby Bonanza. So if you haven't joined our Facebook channel, our Facebook group, please join our Facebook group, as well as our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. All our episodes, all our 39 previous episodes are all on our Facebook group. You just go to the featured section and you can catch up on it, as well as our online magazine. It's almost time for edition 7 of our online magazine.
Yeah,
And then, of course, all our episodes are also available on our YouTube channel. There's, of course, also other platforms. We've got an Instagram channel under Global Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza,
yeah,
as well as a TikTok channel, Global Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza, and then of course we've got a WhatsApp channel, Global
yeah.
Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza. So please join our platforms and become part of our maniac teams and stay up to date with all the school rugby that's going on in South Africa, as well as later on we're going to give more attention to what's going on in the world as the Schoolboy South Africa's season is coming to a close for Schoolboy Rugby. So check this space. Then lastly, but not least, we also would like to thank our staff members, our fellow leaders and our staff that's working endlessly and so hard behind the scenes. Of course, we are doing it voluntarily at this stage. We're still non-profit at this stage for the time being. But all of us that's part of this journey are doing it for the love and the passion and are dedicated to really promote and start also make a difference to raise up the next generation of not only just schoolboy rugby, but global rugby. Huge thank you goes to Elaine Hogan from Ireland. She's from Limerick, Ireland, that does a lot of work to help and promote schoolboy rugby and school rugby, not just schoolboy rugby, but school rugby in Ireland. Also help trying to get into touch with the coaches there and sending out emails to make to greater awareness for global school rugby. So as is also on our leadership of the Facebook group, and not only that, she's also part of the interview panel that interviews the leading coaches and the captains of the various school teams. So thank you so much to Elaine Hogan. Of course, we cannot end the show without thanking our other members, our other staff members. And Hubertus, thank you so much for your work. He's our journalist, legend, more than 50 years of experience in the journalism work. Also a huge part of our interview panel and also in charge of our online magazine together with Louis from Copenhagen. So thank you so much to Anne. And then, of course, Louis' wife, Sarah from Copenhagen, that's also endlessly working behind the scenes with the layout of our magazine. Thank you so much to Sarah. And then, of course, we cannot forget about our featured games panel that always they are part of the crew that always go with Louis to the games. Brian Dudley, our cameraman, and then, of course, our fellow presenter with Louis from Copenhagen, Mr. Von. Thank you so much, guys. Without you guys, it's going to be so incredibly difficult to be able to bring this. And then, of course, last but not least, we would like to say thank you to everyone that's watching this show, that's supporting us on our various platforms, as well as a huge shout out to the founder of the Rassie Rasmus supporters group, Teshugan, for allowing us also to view this program on the Rassie Rasmus group. Of course, myself and Louis are part of the admin team of that one. I'm in charge of the Rassie Rasmus group. So please, if you haven't joined the Rassie Rasmus supporters group, please support the Rassie Rasmus supporters group, as they are a huge part of Schoolboy Rugby. That is it from our side. Until our next episode, from my side and from Mr. Louis, it's goodbye.